everyone, today we're here to talk about Gibraltar. Gibraltar is located on the southern coast of Spain, and it makes for a great day trip if you happen to be in any of the southern Spanish areas. For us, we decided to make Tarifa our base for a few days because Tarifa allowed us to get easily to several places that we wanted to see, including Gibraltar. From our hotel located about 10 minutes just west of Tarifa, it took us about 45 minutes or so to get to Gibraltar. If you're going to be going to Gibraltar by car, one thing that you definitely want to consider is that there is really one way in and one way out of Gibraltar, and you do have to go through the customs checkpoint, and there are only a couple of lines to allow that to happen. So depending on the day and the time, there can be quite a backup, and you may have, a half an hour or an hour wait to make it through customs getting into, but then also getting out of Gibraltar. But I assure you it is worth the time and effort to try to get there. We did drive, and we found a great parking lot just next to the funicula, which is the cable car that will take you all the way to the top of Gibraltar. They have a large parking lot there, and part of it is a permit parking section, so be careful. Watch the signs, watch the colors, make sure you don't park in that area because you will most likely get towed. But there is a great section of free parking, which is something that is very rare in Europe. We didn't really have much of a problem finding a parking spot, so I would say that this would be a pretty good option to at least try to be able to take advantage of that free parking. So, one thing I will warn you about the funicula or cable car is that the lines can be quite long. Most of the times, from what I understand, it's at least an hour, many times 2 hours to make it through the line to get onto the cable car. The big downside for us on our trip was this was a day trip for us, so taking 2 hours to wait in line to take the cable car to the top, and then waiting in line another hour to 2 hours to take the cable car to the bottom would have taken up, half of our day. So we decided to take one of the tour vans that are parked around the area where you wait in line for the cable car. We weren't really sure about it at first, but we noticed there were a lot of people that were taking advantage of that, and it was 35 euros per person, and it was a 2.5 hour tour, and it ended up being a really great option. As you can kind of see by the video that I have on Gibraltar, it was a very in-depth tour. The tour guide was very knowledgeable of the area. It was very funny, and you got a lot of information that just by walking around and looking things up you might not have seen yourself. So for the $35, I think that the 2.5 hours that the tour takes up, I think it's a good value for that price. We did get to see all the major sites pretty much on the rock itself. We got to each of the vantage points and had about 10 or so minutes at each vantage point to take a look, grab some pictures, grab some video, get back in the van, drove up to the next one, and got a little history lesson along the way. Explained a lot about the island, about the monkeys, and Gibraltar's history just kind of in general. And I meant to say rock, not island. For some reason, island came to mind. Not sure why. But the other great thing is it was a pretty hot day that day. It was in the probably upper 90s, if I remember correctly. And so a lot of, walking, a lot of it is more open, and the air conditioning in the van was a welcome relief in between things. Getting to about the middle where you get into the monkey caves, it was very cool to go inside and see the stalactites and stalagmites and the way that the cave itself has been shaped over the years. And the one thing to watch out for is that the monkeys are pretty sneaky. The tour guide will warn you that they are great pickpockets, they're great at opening bags, and they will steal your purse if they somehow smell that there's food or something in it. So they do warn you to not try to eat anything anywhere around where the monkeys are at. If you have any kind of food, it should be in a tightly sealed bag so that they don't smell it and try to steal your bag. And I was pretty amazed at, for the size of some of those monkeys, how quick they actually are. You can see a spot on the video there where the monkey ended up taking a girl's Twix bar, and she was standing there, she's getting ready to open it. The next thing you know, here comes this monkey flying by, grabs it, he's down on the ground and got it open before you even really kind of knew what was happening. And so they are quick and they are sneaky. They will also bite, so don't get too close to them. The tour guides know several of the monkeys because of the day-to-day interaction that they have. But again, they're there. They're a known friend, I guess you could say. So don't try to get too friendly with them. I didn't see them attack anybody or anything like that. But again, better being safe than sorry. Going up to the top of the rock, you will get a spectacular view of the surrounding areas. I had read someplace or heard someplace that the top of the Rock of Gibraltar is the only place, or one of only a few places in the world, where you can see a sea, an ocean, 2 continents, 3 countries from one vantage point. So you are able to see, of course, Gibraltar itself. You are able to see Spain. You are able to see Africa, and of course, Morocco is right there, so you get to see the country of Morocco also. And it was a little bit hazy the days that we were there, so the view probably wasn't the best that it could have been. It was still a beautiful view, and it's still definitely worth the time to take the tour, to go to the top, and be able to take a look at everything from there. One thing that a lot of people probably don't realize about Gibraltar is that they do have a really great shopping district. They do have about a mile and a half of shops that are just a 10 or 15 minute walk. If you park your car by the funicular, you can take a look at the map here, and you can see it's just a quick walk down there. Once you get there, there are a bunch of restaurants, there are a bunch of souvenir shops, but there are also a bunch of designer goods that are being sold. A lot of the major designers, Prada, Gucci, Ray-Ban, pretty much any bigger name designer is going to have a shop there. And a lot of the stuff that we did see was priced very reasonably. I was looking for some sunglasses, and I got a pair of Prada sunglasses for about 50% less than what I would buy if I just bought them from Prada or bought them in the States someplace. So that was a really great value there. They do have a lot of jewelry stores, so if you're looking for jewelry or watches, you should be able to find yourself some very good value there as well. The shopping area is very walkable. There are no cars throughout this area, so that's why I recommend that if you are going to be driving, that you park your car either at the funicular or someplace close to there, because it allows you to leave your car parked there throughout the entire time that you're kind of in this area and just kind of walk. The shopping area has plenty of little shops that you can get gelato. Pretty much any of like the souvenir shops and those type of places will have bottles of water and soda and Gatorade and that sort of thing. So in case you do get thirsty and don't necessarily want to sit down at a restaurant and get something to drink, you'll have the opportunity to get there and just grab a bottle and take it with you. One of the things also is that due to the influences of kind of British and Spanish and everything, you will get to see some really great architecture as well while you're there. Gibraltar itself is actually a fairly decent sized city from driving through it. There are a lot of other areas that, if you want to actually make it a 2-day trip, I think that if you were to go and grab a hotel there, that there are a number of other parts of the city that you can go and spend some time at and, enjoy, in a full day or a full day and a half, 2 days there. Like I said, it's a modern city. It's one of the largest shipping centers in Spain, southern Spain, the area there, because they do get a lot of goods and services that come in by boat for the rest of the continent. And then they do export some stuff too. So there is plenty of things to see and do. One of the interesting things is that Gibraltar is a British colony, so you will see a lot of more British influence throughout the area. You will see like pubs. You will see a lot of people that do speak, English, the British English, not necessarily American English, but everybody definitely was very friendly, and there is a lot of history that is part of Gibraltar. There is a castle there that if you have time, again, this is probably going to be if you do a 2-day trip, or you're actually going to be coming in the day before, spending the night, doing a full day, spending the night and leaving the next day. I would say that you would have enough time then to do the shopping, to go and see the tour on the rock, and then spend some time going through the fort. Throughout the rock itself, you will see a lot of cannon placement and huge steel anchors that they use to move the cannons up the rock, and so it does have a history to it, and it's one of those things that a lot of people bypass because they are there to see Spain. They are there to go across to see Tangiers. They are there to go across to see, Africa itself, and they end up bypassing Gibraltar. And so I would say that, especially if you're someone like myself that likes to collect passport stamps and, kind of check countries and stuff off of your list, by staying in Tarifa or southern Spain, it allows you to kind of check off 3 countries on one trip. It makes it real easy to, of course, you get Spain, you get Gibraltar, and then you get Morocco. And so taking that extra day, going and seeing Gibraltar will give you an experience that a lot of other travelers may end up bypassing and not really thinking about. Well, I think that about does it with my tips and advice for Gibraltar. The one thing about Gibraltar is that, it's one of those places that does often get overlooked, I think, but it's definitely worth, a day trip. So if you found this video to be helpful and, enjoyable, please go ahead and, hit the like button down over here, hit the subscribe button up over there. Those things are really beneficial to helping to push my videos higher up the search list to make it so that people can find them easier. And again, we're trying to build a community here, so if you have any comments, you have anything you'd like to add, please leave a comment down below, share it with everybody, share your experience about Gibraltar. I know there's probably a lot more than what I was able to see. Again, this is a day trip. My goal was to try to hit the big things. I really wanted to see the history of the rock. I wanted to be able to do the tour and see the sights on the rock and the vantage points and the view, that sort of thing. You know, I'd heard quite a bit about the shopping that was there, so I definitely wanted to be able to do some, some shopping, see the shopping district. So, those were two of the big things, and by doing those two things, be able to see the majority of the rock, be able to walk and enjoy the shopping, time to travel there, time to travel back, that's going to take up the majority of your day. So, if you want to go and do some additional exploring, I would definitely recommend, that you get a hotel there, and that way it makes it easier to not have to drive in and, go through the whole customs thing, another time, and it will give you, another couple hours at least of actual time of exploring the city itself. I think that if you had 2 days that you wanted to spend there, I'm pretty sure that you could find enough between the history and the shopping and stuff to really enjoy that full 2 days. Unfortunately, we just didn't have that much time in our schedule to do that. So I really tried to focus this video on getting the most out of a full day by driving when you're driving in and then driving back. Again, I hope that you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again on the next one. Bye.